This is the Relationship Capital Podcast, where we talk to the top thought leaders and practitioners from around the world about how to grow your most valuable resource, your network. I'm your host, Adrian Chenault, and Relationship Capital is brought to you by your friends at Contact Mapping, the #1 app for building your network. Hey everybody, it's Adrian from Contact Mapping, and I am sitting with a very boring man, as you can tell just from his outfit here. This is my new friend, Torsten, and so thank you so much for being here tonight. It's really good to get to hang out with you, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, yeah. Torsten Sedlmeier from Germany.
Very good, very good. It's good to have you. So, I just have really enjoyed getting to know you over the last couple of days. You've got a huge personality. You have been in the network marketing profession for a long time now through a couple of different companies, and so I want to really dive into what you've learned through all of that time. And I want to dive into some of your international perspective, because I think sometimes for those of us who are in the US, sometimes we get that sort of tunnel vision of we don't understand what we don't know. We don't have that wider perspective. So we're going to dive into that a little bit in here in a minute. But where we're going today is I really want to talk about relationships. And I want to talk about how to build relationships effectively for your business. And for somebody who's trying to do that more effectively, what would you advise them to do to play bigger and differently?
Yeah, today we are in a world where there's more and more social media, and some people contact people directly. Mm-hmm. So they just build no relationship, they just go out, and that's self-caused problems in our industry.
Yes.
So because that's why our industry is getting a lot of negative repetition. So, and therefore, we should definitely build relationship, because if you're building relationship with someone, and don't shoot out, hey, you wanna get rich or whatever, or wanna lose weight or wanna feel better or whatever industry you are in. So if you just shoot this out right away, people go away and say, oh my God, these are crazy people. And that's self-caused problems. And so if you really want to build a long and sustainable business, because for me there are three things very important. First thing, I want to build always a big business.
Yes.
Many people build big businesses, but also I want to build a profitable business. Many people build it. But now comes the third point, and that's a sustainable business. And a sustainable business you only can build if you are building relationship with people. People trust you. Yep. For me, I learned from my dad, and I kept it all my whole life during my working athlete, or methods. Yeah, sorry, English is not my main language.
You're good. You're doing great.
It's honesty. Be honest, tell what it is.
Yes.
The truth is good enough.
Yes.
And loyalty. So that's very, very important thing. So if you are building on these basics, your business, this is where you can really build a sustainable business.
Yes. Yeah, that's fantastic. And I've spent a little bit of time living in Europe. Germans are very different relationally in many ways from a cultural perspective than Americans. And so how do you, as somebody that's, translating between different cultures, how do you calibrate the way to build relationships across cultures?
Mm-hmm. The interesting thing is you have to respect and understand cultures.
Yes.
So most people do not respect the cultures. So I see very often you go into a country, as I'm building internationally, and if you do not understand the culture and be prepared about it, there's small tiny things. It's in Asia, the way you're giving away a business card. For example, you give away a business card in Europe, just hand it out, and people just take it and put it away. Yeah. In Asia, you put it with two hands. If you don't put it with two hands, and then you put it on the table.
Yes.
So it has something to do with respect.
Yes.
And that's how you have to build. I sometimes see American leaders coming over to Europe, and they do not understand our culture.
Yes.
Totally. I'm always shocked and say, oh my God, it works in the US, yeah. Right. Okay, people are always people, but right. Some things, cultural difference are there. For example, if you go to Germany, people in Germany needs to understand more on this. I'm not saying that we are not excited or whatever. I'm not the typical German, yeah, but we have power, and so on. But we have to be convinced. So what I found out, for example. I give you an example. It was really a good example. So if you go probably to the US and you help someone to earn $500, yeah, during after he said you can make $500. He makes the $500 after 2 weeks. What does he do usually? He takes off for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
A German, for example, will say, okay, I did in the first 14 days the $500. Oh, now I can make another $500 in the next 14 days.
Yes.
So there are some small, minor cultural differences, and you have to know and understand these things. For example, Americans come sometimes over and they make too much competition between leaders or whatever, which doesn't work, which is totally opposite of what they want to reach, because probably the competition thing is a really big American thing.
Right.
But if you try this in Europe, especially with European network marketing leaders, you'll offend them. Yeah. Oh my God, that's not working.
Yeah, and I think what I have learned in my own experience getting to spend some time in different cultures is it's translatable to anything, that it's about, be a little bit observant and, try to get a feel for what people are like and how they conduct themselves, and, just being able to mirror yourself
Absolutely.
a little bit to that. And whether that's in a different culture, whether that's just a different personality type, if somebody's very extroverted or if they're a bit more quiet, if you can start learning to tune your mode of communication to fit with what's going to be comfortable for them, you're going to be more effective in building relationships, right?
Absolutely, because if there's a guy who's more left brainer or right brainer, you have to talk to these people also very different, yeah. So you have to respect the background of people. You have to respect where they're coming from, what they want, their interests. I built it my last company. I built it up teams of 10,000s of people. Only with 5% of my contact list. By going into this contact, 95% I never contacted yet, because I built a relationship, and out of this relationship, new relationship came. It's like you throw a stone into water and it builds the first circle and the second circle and the next circle, and that's what you can build if you build relationship and people trust you. And I personally think everyone is recruitable, but not at any time. And from everybody. And why is this? Because some people build relation with some people. And if you're not building the relationship, people don't trust you. So they will not work with you. And if you build maybe a relationship, maybe it's not the right time now, but maybe in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, some circumstances changes. And therefore, he comes back to you and say, okay, now it's we did a conversation and you do something in your brand. I would love to do this as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think the longevity piece, that's where it comes in, right? Is that if you know you're building a business that is going to last decades and beyond, then you can play the long game, because you know that you don't have to. It's not like you have to just try to hook somebody right now. And if they won't do it, then
it's no marathon. It's no marathon. We are not in a sprint. And actually, if you were in my last company, I built it up. 80% of my top leaders have never been in this industry, never been or never been successful, and therefore you can really build business also with people who are totally strange. That's actually one of my advices. We have this blue ocean and this red ocean. And this red ocean, there are a lot of fishes, the small fishes, the middle fishes, the bigger fishes, but there are a lot of sharks there as well, and trying to push people from this company to this company and this company. But I'm really focused on building in the blue ocean. So some people out of the red ocean will follow you, but this blue ocean is much bigger, and there are less sharks because it's so big. And if you're building with people who are not in this industry,